Welcome to a special mini episode of the Art Bazaar podcast. I'm your host, Brendan Wonder, and today we're going to be chatting all about Open World Animation Festival, a 4-day event showcasing mind-melting animation from across the planet. The 2024 festival is coming up this week, Thursday, October 24th through Sunday the 27th at the historic Roxy Theatre in Northampton. And what a show we have in store for you. I'm going to tell you all about what to expect from the 2024 festival, how to get tickets, and even a little bit about the history of the event. This year, the festival features over 120 films from 30 countries in 10 different languages. The films range in style and medium, from traditional animation to cutting-edge works. We aim to put together screenings for both family audiences as well as those into the bizarre and macabre, curated into different blocks, of course. Things kick off on Thursday night at 7 p.m. with our opening night block, a compilation of what you can expect to see throughout the 2024 festival. Friday night features 2 blocks, Animation Grab Bag number 1, which, as the name implies, is a mixed bag of the various styles of animation in the festival, including stop motion, 2D, 3D, music videos, and some good old cartoons. Also on Friday night is our Horror, Sci-Fi, and Beyond block. This is an R-rated block of the darker theme work submitted this year. The block gets a bit more absurd as it goes. Then on Saturday, we got a full day for you. When I was growing up, Saturday mornings were all about one thing, cartoons. And I'm doing my part in keeping the tradition alive with a block of Saturday morning cartoons, starting the day off at 10 a.m. at the Roxy Theatre. This block features a mix of family-friendly films playing in competition, as well as retro throwbacks, including commercials, bumpers, and other surprises. Traditionally, this has been our most popular block in the festival. After that, we jump over to our second location, right down the street from the Roxy Theatre, is the Gin Mill, where we'll be hosting VR animation and a retro arcade. We've chosen 6 different VR animated films and we'll have them on display via multiple VR headsets. This is the first time we've actually been able to showcase VR films, and we have some really cool stuff to show you. And like I mentioned, there will also be a retro arcade featuring a mix of video game consoles spanning multiple generations of gaming. The VR animation and retro arcade takes place at the Gin Mill from noon to 4 p.m. It is, of course, all ages. At 4 p.m., we hop back over to the Roxy Theatre for the Animation Grab Bag number 2 at 4 p.m. and Animation Grab Bag number 3 at 6 p.m. To end the day on Saturday, we pick up where we left off on Friday night for our Beyond the Beyond block at 8 p.m. This is another R-rated block of the oddest and craziest films playing in competition this year. Then for the final day on Sunday, October 27th, we start the day off at noon with 16-bit tunes, a family-friendly block of video game-inspired animations, as well as some cartoons thrown into the mix. At 2 p.m., we have a retrospective of Polish animation from the Opla Festival. Opla meaning, oh, people love animation. Poland's largest festival focused on animation. This block features 12 short films from the 2024 festival chosen by the audience, which also serves as a jury who pick the winning films. And then our last full block of Open World Animation Fest 2024 is Animation Grab Bag number 4 at 4 p.m. on Sunday, October 27th. Immediately following that, we announce our winners of the 2024 festival and show a truncated block of the winning films. There are several categories for films to compete in. They are Best Student Film, Best Music Video, the Immersive Award for Best VR Film, Best Animated Short, and our grand prize, the Voyager Award. Yes, our main award is named after the Voyager spacecrafts, which are the furthest man-made objects from Earth, launched all the way back in 1977 and still going. The Voyager spacecrafts left the confines of the Milky Way back in 2012, entering interstellar space, where they continue to travel even further and send back data of their voyages. Truly a feat of exploration and adventure. We're big believers in making things affordable, which is why we've priced our tickets so cheap. There are 3 different ways to buy tickets for the festival. If you want to come out for just one block, it's $5 admission. Day passes are also available, getting you into every block that day for just $10. But if you're really into animation, and you got the time to sink into these wonderful films, you can get yourself an all-access pass, which gets you into every block throughout the 4 days, and that's priced at just $25. Tickets are available on Eventbrite. The easiest way to get that link, aside from the show notes, is going to our website, openworldanimation.com. Tickets and passes are, of course, available at the box office. Now that you know what we're doing this year, I want to give you some backstory about how we got here. Why the name open world? I see gaming as a type of interactive animation. In past iterations of the festival, we've included cutscenes from video games, footage captured from gaming that people edited into narrative short films, and of course, films inspired by the look and play of video games. And there's a certain type of gaming that I love, and that I thought properly represented what we wanted this festival to be, and that's open world gaming, where you have a giant map or landmass that you are free to just roam about and do whatever you please. I think this type of gaming really encourages people to explore and you feel like you're on an adventure. That's the core of what we wanted to do with this festival. We, of course, wanted to highlight amazing animated films from around the world of all different styles, but we were extra interested in those films that were pushing the boundaries of what was expected within the medium. Things like GIFs and VR, virtual reality. We started Open World Animation Festival back in 2016, just as a fun little screening for friends of ours who were into animation. We held it here in the main gallery and projected animations on the wall that we found online, with the creator's permission, of course. It was more of a show and tell kind of thing than anything else. After a positive response, and generally just having a lot of fun doing it, we decided to keep going. So for the second year, we actually opened it up for submissions, and people from around the world started sending us their odd and amazing films. For the first 2 years, the festival was held in March, mainly because our organization didn't have as much going on at that time. It was the halfway point to Allentown ArtsFest, so we had enough time to recover after the previous festival, and we're still a ways off from the true grind of prepping for the upcoming festival. In 2018, which was the third year of the festival, we pushed it to July after partnering with the Southside Film Festival in Bethlehem, which is held annually in June. That year, we curated a block of animated films that were to appear in Open World Animation Fest 2018. We did this to help grow our audience and bring a stronger offering of animation to the already diverse Southside Film Festival. At that point, we just kept the festival in July to make things more streamlined with submission openings and deadlines. After 4 years of screening in the main gallery here at the AG, we decided it was time to step things up and make it a more serious festival as things were beginning to grow. It was time to bring this thing to an actual movie theater. The plan was to partner with the Emmaus Theatre for the 4-day festival. We had already been working with the Emmaus Theatre and thought it was the perfect and logical next step. And then, like everything else, the pandemic changed our plans. As we couldn't host events in person at that time, we ended up doing a 4-day live stream, which had its benefits, as it allowed us to reach a much larger audience. Anyone, anywhere in the world could tune in. They weren't restricted by their geography, as is usually the case with in-person screenings. One of the downsides to doing a live stream is we didn't have the ability to charge anything for it at the time, and we still desired to host the event in a movie theater. We certainly didn't expect the pandemic to drag on as long as it did, and it took a mega toll on the AG, which we barely survived. We actually went into the pandemic in debt from Allentown ArtsFest. Something like $18,000, maybe a little bit more. And at this point, our only real revenue stream was through the live events we hosted. We had our last event in March 2020 and didn't have another live event inside our space for over 2 years. During this time, we had to look into other options, which saw us selling off a lot of things in our collection which we didn't want to do, but had to in order to keep going. The thing, honestly, that saved us was this massive Laserdisc donation we had gotten. A guy's uncle had passed away, and he'd found us online somehow through our website. And the guy was a very serious collector who had high-end stuff, including Laserdisc players and SVHS players. Fortunately, there were a lot, and we were able to keep some as well as sell some off. Not only were we able to continue paying our monthly operating costs, we actually fully dug ourselves out of debt during the pandemic, all while we were shut down. As things eased with the pandemic, we made serious efforts in both 2022 and 23 to bring back Allentown ArtsFest. Now, ArtsFest was never cheap or easy, and the last time we hosted the festival in 2019, it had a price tag of a little over $60,000. But by 2022, trying to duplicate the exact same festival cost almost $100,000. And that is about where the number remains if we'd like to bring back the festival in the future, which makes it nearly impossible to do without major corporate sponsorships and grants. In 2024, we shifted our focus from trying to revive ArtsFest to bringing back Open World Animation Fest, which is a much, much cheaper project to host. This has also fallen in line with the direction the AG has taken since the pandemic, which is focusing on film and media preservation in addition to the other things we do, of course. So that brings us to the 2024 festival. For those of you who are paying attention, yes, the festival was originally set to take place this past July at the Emmaus Theatre. The honest truth of what happened is that we're such a small team running not only the event but the organization, and we didn't give ourselves enough time to properly prepare for the return of the festival, as well as its first year taking place inside a movie theater, which has a lot more moving parts than doing it here at the gallery. We simply needed more time to pull things together. Unfortunately, the schedule at Emmaus Theatre was booked up for the fall, so we hopped over to the Roxy in order to make sure we could still do the festival in the 2024 calendar year, which thank you Mr. Wolf and his team over there for opening up such an historic theater, allowing us to put on an incredible show for all you fine folks. And that's where we're at now. October 2024, the Open World Animation Festival is back. And for the first time ever, it's in a movie theater. A very historic one at that. The Roxy Theatre was built in 1921 as a Nickelodeon and vaudeville theater. Even though the theater focused mainly on screening movies from the 1930s on, live performances have continued to be a staple of the theater's programming. If you haven't been to the Roxy Theatre before, I assure you, it's as classic as movie theaters get. It has an incredible marquee, and the interior truly feels like you're stepping into the 1930s. Mr. Wolf has done an incredible job of maintaining the theater and preserving its historic nature, and we are so grateful to now be a part of that continued history. And in the future, we're hoping to be able to host our festival not only at the Roxy, but at many other wonderful locations throughout the Lehigh Valley, including the Emmaus Theatre. Speaking of the future, we have some ideas in mind of what we'd like to see happen with the festival and many of the wonderful films we're so fortunate to show. Hopefully, as early as next year, we're looking to put together a solid block of that year's best films featured in the festival and do a road show. Go from city to city to awesome old movie theaters and creative spaces and share these films. We, of course, plan on continuing the festival on an annual basis for multi-day in-person screenings here in the Lehigh Valley. We think both that and a road show are totally possible, and it's something we're seriously pursuing. So, if you run a cool or historic theater and you'd like something like Open World Animation Festival at your space, definitely let us know. If you're just a fan of animation and would love to see an event like this in your hometown, still reach out to us. Maybe we can work together or set something up. The point is, we are ready to start having the conversation about taking this show on the road. And, bringing it back home, I've always believed the Lehigh Valley could be a hub for independent film, both in the way of supporting independent film production, as well as hosting serious film festivals and dedicated spaces for film screenings. With events like Open World Animation Festival, we truly hope to see that happen. And just to give the festival info again, Open World Animation Festival runs October 24th through the 27th at the historic Roxy Theatre in Northampton, PA. Tickets are just $5 per block, $10 for a day pass, and $25 for an all-access pass that gets you into everything. 4 days of mind-melting animation from 30 countries around the world. We have family-friendly blocks early on Saturday and Sunday, that's Saturday morning cartoons, and 16-bit tunes blocks. We have 2 R-rated blocks for the fans of horror, sci-fi, and the deranged on Friday night and Saturday night. And then everything else falls roughly into the PG-13 category for those who might be wondering. Also, as I mentioned earlier, we have 10 different languages, including an indigenous language. So there are subtitles in quite a few films. If you need glasses or anything for those peepers, make sure you bring them so you can read the subtitles. General admission for single blocks is only available at the box office, which opens up 30 minutes before the screening time. Day passes and all access passes are available on Eventbrite. We'll have that link in the show notes. You can get that link as well as the full schedule by going to openworldanimation.com. I know that was a lot of info. Trust me, it was a lot of work to put it together. So please come out if you can and support not only the hard work we've put in, but of course the amazing work of hundreds and hundreds of filmmakers, animators, and creators who've put together so many truly special films. We can't wait to show you. And that's all for now. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next time on Bazaar.